We get a lot of questions on how to train the abdominals. The transverse abdominis is a really big buzzword right now, and it's kind of coming out of the Pilates community. And it's a small muscle that has links and is shown in some research to be kind of the holy grail in terms of the abdominals and sparing the spine, stabilizing the spine. We got a question recently from a reader, visitor to our website, asking about the transverse and how we train it. So we're going to give you a little bit of feedback on that, a little bit of information. There are kind of two spectrums, two different ends of the spectrum in terms of abdominal training. In the Pilates community, they basically look specifically to train the transverse abdominis, and they do it by hollowing. And so what they'll do is they'll actually suck their abdominals in, trying to create a cave or a hollowing. The other end is the powerlifting community, where they wear belts and they actually push their abdominals out against the belt to try to increase their intra-abdominal pressure. We're kind of in the middle, and there's a lot of research to back what we call the bracing technique. Dr. McGill has done extensive research on that, and in our opinion, it's the best method out there. What it is basically the way that you would prepare for an impact. If somebody's going to punch you in the stomach, you exhale and kind of tighten up. And again, you're trying to increase the intra-abdominal pressure. It's the Valsalva maneuver, if you're familiar with that. You're trying to increase the pressure in your abdominals to then kind of push back against and stabilize the spine. So the two ways that we teach our athletes to do it. Imagine somebody's going to punch you in the stomach, you tighten up, and then you have to be able to hold that position while you move and while you breathe. You can't just flex up and tighten up. You still have to do it while you move and while you exercise, lift, and hopefully when you compete. The other way to picture it, a little disgusting, you want to close off your valve and pretend that you're going to go number 2. All right, imagine you haven't eaten any fruits or vegetables in about 2 weeks, and you're trying to push one out. All right, it's not a very pleasant image, but you can probably relate to that. All right, so what we're trying to do, tighten up the abs to stabilize the spine, lock the spine into place. It's to prevent injury and to increase our performance at the same time. How we train that, we teach it in all of our movements, whether we're doing a military press, a close grip bench, a pull-up. We're trying to keep those abs braced the entire time. And then we transition out of the weight room, where it's a more controlled environment, into some of our speed drills, our agility drills, our conditioning drills, so that hopefully our athletes can kind of create that situation when the situation calls for it. Looking at impact when you're jumping, any type of an explosive movement, we want to contract the abs, brace, and it's going to give us more power and a better a base to push off of. All right, so 4 exercises that we do with our athletes to train the abdominals. Now, we are bracing the entire time. All right, the function of the abdominals is not to create movement, so to speak. We're not trying to move the spine like in a crunch. We never want our athletes in this position, so it doesn't make sense to train our abs laying on the ground crunching. It's opposite of what we're trying to do. Our abs are there to stabilize the spine. So we have to basically use gravity and use different levers to almost force us to break that movement. And it's going to keep the abs in a position to stabilize the spine. So I'll give you a few examples. The first one is just a basic plank. All right, and basically we're braced and we're just going to hold it against gravity. All right. You can do it 2 different ways. You can do it with forearms on the ground, it gives you a little bit more stability, or you can do it from a push-up position. All right, so forearms on the ground, abs tight, and we just hold it for time. If we do it from the push-up position, abs are tight, hold it for time. Second exercise is a side plank. All right, straight as a board, abs are tight. Again, fighting gravity, and you can do that on both sides as well. Another exercise that we do, barbell rollout. There are 2 different variations. All right, so I'll give you kind of a couple of them. You can do it with, if you have an ab roller, you can use that. It's actually a really good piece of training equipment. You can do it on a barbell, and you can do it on certain dumbbells as well. So I'll show you with a barbell first. Okay, so you can do it from the knee position. All right, you're going to kneel, feet are off the ground, hands on the barbell. Now all you're going to do is roll the barbell forward. touch and come back up. The key to this is not, again, flexing at the spine. You're trying to stay nice and tall, basically. You want to pretend that you're 7 feet tall with your abs tight. Okay, second variation, there's a little less range of motion. You're going to start basically in a push-up position on top of the bar. And from here, again, we want a nice flat spine. Roll out. And come back. The range of motion on the second one is a lot shorter, but it's a more advanced exercise. So start at first on the knees, rolling all the way out, coming back in. So those, the plank, side plank, and then the two different variations of the rollout are 3 or 4 exercises depending on how you categorize it. Those are exercises that you have to put into your program to train and develop the abs.